Hey guys, thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and all our social media platforms at Fino Boxing. You can follow my personal social media at Adriana_sports. Enjoy. Jake, 3 fights, 3 knockouts. How confident and why so confident that you can do the same to Woodley?
Just from my sparring and going against opposition who are a lot better than TYRON and beating them in sparring. That's really where the confidence stems from, and I know he's not going to work harder than me.
This confidence that you speak of, it's not just talking about Woodley now, but you're mentioning CANELO, one of the best pound for pound currently in boxing in the world. Keep talking to me about this confidence. 3 years, what's going to change for you to be able to face CANELO?
I think just more time under the lights and increasing my level of opposition until, maybe the pinnacle being CANELO. He's had hours of experience in the ring, and I've had 7 minutes in 3 fights. So I needed harder opponents. That's why we chose Woodley. Hopefully he can bring me a good fight. I want more time under the lights. I said it in the presser. I haven't been hit in my 3 professional fights. There's been a headbutt. Someone grazed my neck, but I haven't been hit. Like, I don't even know what it's like to get hit necessarily with a 10-ounce glove on. So hopefully Woodley can bring a fight and eventually get enough experience under my belt to fight CANELO.
At least on paper, is he the toughest opponent yet? At least on paper.
Woodley's the toughest opponent for sure, by far, and I'm excited for that. Hopefully it brings out the best in me. And like I said, people don't even know how I fight. People haven't even seen footage or know what I do. I haven't even gotten to warm up. I come alive in the 4th, 5th, 6th rounds in sparring, 7th round, 8th round. That's when I come alive. So people haven't even seen my style or seen how good I am yet.
Coming into this, I was prepared to ask you what you thought or why you thought Woodley didn't want to take your bet, but now we have a new bet in the tattoo.
Yeah. So, I mean, when he loses, he's gonna have to get "I love Jake Paul" tattooed on him and posted on his Instagram feed.
Will Woodley be your last MMA fighter?
I don't think so. I think there's Nate Diaz. That conversation's been going on for a while. Maybe McGREGOR. At this point, I don't even know what's gonna happen. Whatever opportunity presents itself. I'm not scared of fighting anybody.
Still considering?
Made all the sense in the world after the hat.
Mayweather wants me to cut to 147. I think he knows that he couldn't take me at my natural weight, and I think we saw that with my brother when he thought we were fake fighters, and then comes in and can't even finish him off.
How much conversations do you have with professional matchmakers? Because obviously it would be smart maybe if you are transcending toward a CANELO fight to have these guys kind of script your career.
As far as what, like?
Just as you're moving up through the boxing game against pro boxers.
I mean, I want to make historic fights. I don't want to do fights that no one's gonna watch against no-name people. Like, I need to fight household names, and I'm not trying to be in this sport for the next 30 years. I want to do the biggest fights, win, and get out.
Where would you get the tattoo at?
The next question.
Woodley said that he would fight you more than once after also fighting OGs. What would you say after fighting once? What would the next bet be, and what would you say to another fight?
I wouldn't fight Woodley. I'm not going to fight Woodley after I beat him. There's no point, I'm going to finish him violently. So there won't be a fight too.
You've gone back and forth with Austin McGREGOR on Instagram and Twitter. Would you consider fighting him next, or is that something
No.
you're not considering?
I said, don't fight that guy. He doesn't pay people.
Coming from a Disney background, man, you got a lot of little kids that really want to see you fight, man. People like a kid out of California named Jacob or something like that has to ask their parents about getting money to do this fight. What would be some things you would incentivize them to tell their parents to, get this fight?
I mean, it's entertainment, Do you want to go to the movies, or do you want to watch a Jake Paul fight? it's that's the decision nowadays, and I think a Jake Paul fight's a lot more entertaining than whatever movies are coming out these days. You're going to see a show, you're going to see a knockout, and you're going to see a turn up after.
Woodley talked about him wanting to do this for his kids and show that he has no quit. Who are you doing this for, and what is your motivation for this fight?
I'm doing it for a lot of people, but mostly myself. You know, I've gone through a lot personally, and I think I fight for my family, for my team, but I also fight to prove to myself, like, no one can defeat me no matter what I go through.
Do you still entertain a fight with McGregor, even after what happened last weekend?
Yeah, I think it would still be dope, right? He's still one of the biggest names in the business, but he's a loser. I want to fight winners. I want to fight, you know, and increase the level of my opponent. So, you know, if he just keeps on losing and I just keep on winning, then it might not make sense anymore.
Do you think he can come back from that?
McGregor?
Yeah.
Only if Poirier agrees to fight him again, and if he comes back and wins. But if I was Poirier, I wouldn't fight him again.
A lot of people are saying at this point, like, he should retire, like he hasn't won since 2016, like his best days are past him. Would you agree with that, or do you think there's still a lot left in him?
I think it depends how he feels, right? Like, we as the media or as other fighters can judge him, but it's really what's going on in his head. If he's just doing this to continue to, you know, promote his brands and promote himself and just get paydays, then he should retire. But if he genuinely thinks that he can come back and win, then who's to doubt him? You know, that's what these boxing movies are about. That's what Rocky is all about, is coming back and, you know, proving all the doubters wrong and doing the impossible. So, look, I'm not saying he's Rocky, but, like, that's what drives us fighters is the doubters and you know, really crafting that narrative and that story and proving everyone wrong. So, you know, it's really up to McGregor, but who knows?
Jay, going back to the Ben Askren fight, if Jalen Love doesn't ask him, what do you know about these? This fight does not happen.
Right?
So what do you tell Jalen?
Hey, yeah, it all started in the locker room when I was wrapping my hands and Tyron Woodley was in Ben Askren's corner, and we just all started talking shit to him, and that's really how this fight came about, is us telling Tyron he don't know nothing about boxing.
Jake, do you think the criticism of the opponents is warranted? Because I see this as, because you don't have an amateur career, of course you got to get guys that are going to give you work and that you got to gain experience. You know, we've seen other fighters that haven't had an amateur experience have like 20 opponents that were, you know, they were there for a reason, for them to get that experience they missed out on.
Exactly, yeah. A lot of pro boxers pad their records. Guys like Tommy Fury, who are fighting people who are 0-14, 5-6, 0-26. He's fighting bums. I'm fighting world champions, Olympic athletes, UFC champions. I'm fighting a lot harder opposition than anyone with any pro boxer who's 3-0 ever has. Look at Floyd Mayweather's third fight. Look at Mike Tyson's third fight. Look at Muhammad Ali's third fight. First of all, no one watched them, and no one was able to criticize those pay-per-views or those events. But who are they fighting? You know, I'm my third fight in, and I'm not going to go up against you know, someone who's not a household name. So it's hard for me to find the perfect opponents while also making it a real challenge. I set it up on stage. This is a real risk. Tyrone thinks that, you know, my coaches are just telling me this is going to be an easy fight. You got this, which, you know, that's part of what they tell me, but they also tell me, like, hey, this is a serious opponent with knockout power, and we have to be sharp as hell August 29th.
The risk on his side is pretty clear. He's the established former UFC champion. You're the YouTuber turned boxer who's only fighting in a sport pro fight. What is the risk for you, though?
I think the risk is always bigger on my side, right? If this narrative plays out and Jake Paul keeps on winning, this will be the greatest combat sports story in the history of ever. So that's the risk for me, is losing that. quite literally, it will be the most talked about things for generations to come. The impact I've made in 3 fights is unparalleled. So imagine what I could do in 10 fights. And so, the risk of a loss, it diminishes all of that. I'm one of the highest paid athletes for my age out of all sports. So, a loss puts a stint in that as well. So we both have a lot to risk, and that's what makes this fight amazing.
What do you think is like the biggest thing about this fight? Why do you think that people come in to watch you guys fight in pay-per-view, and how do you think the sport of boxing will change because an up-and-coming like you is going to be possibly 4-0 and have some of the best pay-per-view viewage of all time?
Look, I think we're just seeing a different business model. I'm changing the way the game is played. It's about a lot of people forget this is a business. You have to do the content, you have to create the hype, and you have to sell pay-per-views, and you have to perform in the ring as well. I'm changing the game. I'm bringing new eyeballs. I'm bringing the Gen Zs, the Gen Z generation, and making them care about the sport. And this is just the start. So, who knows what comes next.
You've called yourself a master troll. So how does that transfer over to boxing trash talk?
I can't lose. There's no way of out trolling me. That's like my bread and butter. And if people engage with me, they're automatically losing. They can't beat me in my own game. But what I'm doing now is beating them in their own game, which is fighting. And so I'm mastering both, and that's why I'm one of the biggest pay-per-view draws after only 3 fights.
How special is it that legendary fighters like Manny Pacquiao are saying that you guys are doing good to the sport? I think your brother met Pacquiao yesterday.
Yeah, it means the world. I think the real ones see what we're doing and respect it. I think the jealous ones are the ones who talk shit about it. But there's a lot of positivity out there. Manny Pacquiao, Mike Tyson, some of the greatest ever, are Sylvester Stallone supporting what we have going on. It's the jealous fighters who are envious of what we're doing that are the trash talkers. But they will soon be diminished, put out, and left on the side of the road.